peradventure you hadn't set an intention for this class. We can call it prayer too. I know we've prayed, but I want us to consciously now, and you're going to write it down in your note. It's going to be a little bit, conversational. Please, I would like you to set an intention for, well, not just this class, for the retreat. Set an intention. And it's not what is in your head. Please put it down in your writing material. I know Pastor Ayo has also charged us to have a writing material so that you can write. See, like 2 weeks ago, when Reverend was preaching and he was talking about, 2025 is a year of possibility. I have come to elevate and add my voice to that because I know that yes, and much more is what 2025 is. But God wants us to step into those possibilities. How would we step into the possibilities? He now needs us. This is part of what the preparation for us to step into that. Before you set the goal, we will set goals, right? Maybe today, maybe later on. You set your goals. But before you set the goal, some things need to happen for you. And this is part of them. This retreat is part of them. So I'm very, very glad that we are partakers of this. So the topic I've been asked to speak on is, yes, the general theme is win the year, possibilities 2025. And I was just enthused when I saw this when I came in, all right? But the core topic I'm speaking about is finding you. Finding you. Where are you as it relates to your kingdom purpose? Finding you. Where are you as it relates to your kingdom purpose? And we have a text. At the end of the day, we're trusting that we will experience some sort of healing, which will come as a result of illumination, clarity, answers that will come for us. We'll also experience some sort of release, like release from past in some sort of ways, as at least knowing what to do, having answers, knowing what to do, all right? And then you being able to now fully sit with that task of setting your goal, whether you have set the goal already or you have not set it. Now, our text is Luke 12, 28 to 35. And I please will crave our indulgence if someone could read from the room, please. Luke 12, 28 to 35. That's one of the texts, core text for the conversation. Now, it's not preaching, but I need to set some context. Please, who is reading for us? We are not here with our Bibles. Okay.
If then God so close to grass, which is today in the field, and tomorrow is cast into the oven, how much more will he clothe you, O ye of little faith?
Luke 12, 28 to 35. Yes, please.
And seek not ye what ye shall eat, or what ye shall drink, neither be ye of doubtful mind. For all these things the nations of the world seek after, and your Father knoweth that ye have need of these things. But rather seek ye the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Sell that ye have, and give alms. Provide yourselves bags, which wax not old, a treasure in the heavens that faileth not, where no thief approacheth, neither moth corrupteth. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Let your loins be girded about, and your light burning.
Luke 12, 28 to 35. Is that what you've read? Please, what version is that? Sorry, what version is that? Okay, please, can somebody read in NIV? Salt. Please read 34 to 35. But that's not the look. Oh, apologies. Luke 14, 34 to 35. Okay. Luke 14, 34 to 35. Yes.
But if it loses its flavor, how do you make it salty again? Flavorless salt is good neither for the soil nor for the manure pile. It is thrown away. Anyone with ears to hear should listen and understand.
Yes. And that is 34 to 35 of the Luke 14, 28 to 35. And I found something very amusing when I was reading it. I like the way NIV did the summary. And it says, just as salt flavors food, it flavors and preserves food so that it doesn't go bad. It helps keep it from spoiling and brings new flavor to life. This is what we are to do as well, preserving the good of the world. The same way salt preserves food and adds flavor to to food, we are also supposed to add flavor to the world, our own flavor, bring it to the world, add it to the good of the world, because already we'll be preserving the good of the world. So we preserve the good of the world, we stop it from spoiling. Do you see those rows? We stop it from spoiling, and then we are able to preserve, we are able to add our own flavor. Now, in other words, for us to do this, still in the summary that NIV put, for us to do this, it says we need three things. Number one, careful planning, willing sacrifice, and unwavering commitment to Christ's kingdom. And so I then thought, I thought about it that, so the ultimate goal then really is that, I mean, why are we having this conversation? The ultimate goal is that we want to fulfill the kingdom's purpose. And of course, that will be success. If we are able to fulfill the kingdom's purpose, that will be our judge. That will be accrued to us as successful. Okay? Now, if success is the end goal, we're saying that by 2024, 2025, we want to win. We're speaking to success. And if we're saying that we want to fulfill kingdom's purpose, this 2024, as we go into the year, setting our goals and all that, our mission is really fulfilling kingdom's purpose. Now, I remember sometime earlier in the year when we were having goal-setting conversation. It was middle of the year, end of June, when it was a church setting as well. And we were talking about you setting goals that is in the heart of God. If you happen to catch goal, yes, along your own, fulfilling kingdom agenda is not only by the pulpit. Of course, all of us are Daystar, and being a Daystar member, we know that we have the different spheres of influence, and by the different spheres of influence, wherever you have found yourself, we are placed and our work is blessed. And by our being there, people are blessed. So we set goal based on where we are working from. Now, this kingdom agenda, kingdom purpose, for us, so I was saying then that when you are able to catch a goal in your sphere of influence that is in the heart of God, or you are able to catch a dream, of course, you now create a goal from that dream that is in the heart of God. There is an alignment that makes the energy of pursuit of that goal. Of course, this is church, so I can say it this way, all right? If it was a secular setting, perhaps we would describe it in a different way. But this is church, right? So, if you are able to set a goal that is in the heart of God for this season, for my sphere of influence, where I am operating, and I catch that dream, and I set goals along that line. Of course, using all the different models of setting goals and all of that, depending on what has worked for you and what is working for you, you know that the difference maker is that you got a goal, you got a dream. That is God's mission. And what that does is it helps us to go in the direction God is going. Because God has already made the provision. If He has called us to it, He has made provision for it. So when we are going in that direction, it makes things faster. We're going somewhere with this. So the end goal really is success. And by success, for the purpose of this class, I define success as success is the fulfillment of kingdom's purpose. Success is the fulfillment of kingdom's purpose. I know that there are many definitions of success out there. I like this one from Reverend. Success is who you are. And yes, that's very correct. For this class, success is fulfillment of kingdom's purpose. And kingdom's purpose is relative to individuals. Yes, God has like a grand agenda, but everybody has a piece of this agenda. And we must find what is cut out for us. And when we come in alignment, that's the difficult part anyway. So when we come in alignment with this, it makes all the difference for us. So the big question is, I'll be asking different questions, all right, so that, and the question I would want us to reflect and then like sort of answer it in our notebooks. So where are you in relation to kingdom purpose? And by kingdom purpose now, we are not having the conversation of kingdom purpose or purpose, what's purpose and all of that. We all know that purpose already is something we are inside. Yes, God has an agenda and we are in alignment with this agenda. If we are in alignment with this agenda, what is yours and what are you pursuing in this season? Or what have you been pursuing? Or what do you want to pursue? So that question is critical. Where are you on this path of achieving kingdom purpose? Are you actually on that path? And we recall in Genesis when God was asking Adam, where are you? You know, just take it as God asking you right now, where are you? So are you on your path of purpose? So if not, why not? In the last year you set goals. So let's use goals to describe it. Because you might have set goals based on big dream, maybe your 10 years dream that God has laid in your heart. Some might be on it. You've been on it in the last 10 years. Some just set their own 10 years or maybe 20 years, whatever you are on. But last year, let's use last year, you set goals last year. If you set goals last year, where are you on the achievement of the goal now? Where are you? How far have you gone? I want us to be connecting goals to the bigger dream as I asked the question. So the questions are, why don't we succeed at fulfilling these dreams? Why don't we succeed at achieving our goals when we set it? Why don't we hit our goals? Why don't we hit our goals? Okay, so let me ask you, maybe on a scale of 1 to 10, you set, I don't know how many goals you set last year. Some set gazillion goals, some set a few. Whatever model you have used to set your goal last year, where are you on that path? On a scale of 1 to 10, maybe 1 is, nah, none. And 10 is, I am blazing. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you in achieving your goal? You know. So, are you over 5 of, let's say, 50% achievement? If you're not, even if you're like, if you're below, wherever you are, you're below 50, you're above 50, you're 7, 8, you know, wherever you are, you know that, except you did 100%. Sorry, if you did 100%, let me see your hand up. You did 100%. Yay. Yes. We have people that are playing in the house because they did 100% of their goals. Yes. Amazing. Well done. I think I'll have to have, I would like to have some questioning at some point, from you so that we can check in with your model and see, what's working for you. Because yes, we set goals so that we can achieve it. But sometimes we find ourselves on 9, 8, 7, 5, maybe 3, 2, some 0. Is that correct? So if that is correct, why? Let me ask the difficult question of why. Why? Remember, when we are talking goals, it's not what you wrote on paper. It's what is in alignment with the mind of God. That's why it came from all of those, setting the context of connecting it to kingdom agenda. We only set goals based on the big dream, right? So why? And I want us to be utterly honest with ourselves. Sometimes when I ask the question, please put it in your note. Right? If you have answers. Some might have answers, some you may not have answers for. But as much as possible, if you have answers, just put it down. This is you and you. You know that it's still a long day because we're going to get to, other sessions and all that. So why don't we achieve our goal? Why don't we succeed at hitting our goal? Why do we struggle to succeed at fulfilling kingdom's purpose? What stops us from succeeding? What stops us from catching the heart of God in the now? So that we can set goal in alignment with where God is going to. Now, something happened in 2018. 2018, I belonged to Watch Force, and I remember that year, Tuesdays we have our meetings. That time we were still using Annex 1. And it was going to be a conversation evening, unlike the regular prayer meetings and all that. So we're talking about success and succeeding. And the question was, why don't people succeed? Why do people succeed? And all of those things. And so they were passing the microphone around to people to just check, why don't people succeed? That was the question. Why don't people succeed? Why don't we succeed in life? Why do we struggle to succeed and all? And different things came up. Fear of failure, fear of success. That was really big in my spirit at that time. Fear of success and all of that. So, as the coordinator who held the microphone passed by me, it passed the sitting arrangement, it passed. So he had passed me, and he was going to pass the microphone to someone. I just heard the line. To break free from the past, you need to create a compelling picture of the future. I'm like, okay, that looks like very mouthful. But what's the correlation of that with success equation that we're talking about? Anyway, fast forward to, years afterwards, I've been able to unbundle it in different ways and all of that. But here is the catch. In fact, last week, I was preparing for a program to facilitate, that was healing session, group healing session. And guess what? While I was getting ready for it, that phrase, or that line, that sentence got highlighted in my spirit. But this time around, there was an extension. And the extension was, for you to see that future, you need to heal. To break free from the past, create a compelling picture of the future. For you to see the future, you need to heal. Now, connect it back to success. If it means that for you to succeed, you need to create a compelling picture of the future. And when we started, Pastor Ayo had said that if it is not clear, if you don't have clarity, even the prayers may not be answered because you don't know exactly what we're praying for. And it's also scriptural. So, creating a compelling picture of the future and the deliberate use of compelling. How vivid could the picture be, or should the picture be? And the other side of it is the picture is vivid, and then that will make you break free from the past. So when you break free from the past, you can then ascend to your success. So, the next question I want to ask is, what do you want to heal from? We need to heal. What do we need to heal from? What do we want to heal from? I'm asking question. What do we want to heal from? Say that again, sir. Past hurt, okay? What else do we want to heal from? Yes, ma'am. Mistakes, past mistakes, okay? What else do we want to heal from? Past failures. What else do we want to heal from? Say that again, sir. Doubtful, being doubtful, beautiful. And yes, everyone is correct. These are the things we want to heal from. Now, one specific one we are highlighting for this class. We are healing from our limiting thinking patterns. We are healing from limiting thinking pattern. Am I too fast or I'm too slow? Which one? Thank you. So, what are limiting thinking patterns? What are limiting thinking patterns? I just want somebody to speak to that. Okay? And that comes to put a lid. Right. Love it. Yes. So your limiting thinking patterns are from your beliefs. And these beliefs are come to you based on your experiences. Even when you were, during the time you were impressionable, when you didn't even know anything. You were young mind that is absorbing everything. So these beliefs came to you because of the experiences you had. And sometimes, even as adults, we build limiting beliefs that create our limiting thought patterns because of our exposure, our experiences. Failure. Life for younger people, what we call adverse childhood experiences. Abuse of all sorts. Psychological abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, all whatnot. You and I sitting in this room today, if you recall vividly, you will know that you were exposed to you had some sort of exposure. Hey, you had some sort of exposure growing up. Yes or yes? Exposure that were adverse, they were negative. And what was the impact of them? You only knew you had exposure. What happened to you? What happened to you as a result of this exposure? You don't know, or do you know? Well, some adults have now come to know because of now, maybe they now have interventions. They feel like, oh, things are not going right. They went to therapists or they did something. They got healing. They prayed about it. They were fine. You know, some sort of intervention happened for them. But many adults, they don't know. So because of these experiences we've experienced, when our mind was young, these exposures increased our vulnerability, our susceptibility to thinking with leads in our mind, shading our, sorry, it's alarm, shading our thinking. Now, I would like to describe, to use an analogy to describe these limiting beliefs. The specs I'm using now, this is reading glasses. If I wore sunshade, or maybe normal working glasses, or for sight, I wore it now, and I try to read. How would it look for me? Or you use another person's glasses. It will be blur, okay? How else would it appear? Maybe dark, blur. You can't see it. But is it that nothing is on the paper? Something is there. And what is there is right for whoever put it there. But were you seeing it? You were not seeing it. Why? So our thoughts now are, whether it is sunshade you are using, it is photochromio, it is your specification, you are using, it will determine what you see, how you see. So how you're seeing is shaded by what you're wearing. Limiting beliefs are what you're wearing. What are you wearing? Ask someone. What are you wearing? Please ask someone. Ask. What shade are you wearing? Are you wearing ideal specs for you? Wear a spec that is not ideal. Before you know it, you will know that you have headache. It has adverse effects. So limiting beliefs are these shades. Now, let's look at some examples that are interesting. And in the Bible, of course, we are Christians, we can relate with them. I'll just tell the stories, Adam and Eve, it's in Genesis, our second text. Adam and Eve, when they made the decision to hide from God, what made them hide? I like our responses so far. Please, let's respond. What made them hide? They felt, they knew. There are two different things you're saying. No. It's actually correct. They felt. Okay. They thought they've stepped out of God's plan. They felt shame. Yes, you were raising your hand, please. They felt, yes. So they thought they were less than who they were. They felt shame. They felt guilt. They felt fear. And they hid. Shame, fear, and guilt make us hide from relationships. Please put that down. Thank you, sir. Makes us hide from relationships. They had relationship with God. They hid from relationship. Trusted relationship that they feel they report to, they are responsible to. They hid. Who are you hiding from? And why are you hiding? The next example I like to give is Moses. And the story of Moses is a classic one. If you're looking for somebody, sure you thought you had a very traumatic childhood, please ask Moses. From birth to death, it was just exposure and exposure. And a significant point came in his life when he had to kill the Egyptian. What made him kill the Egyptian? What made him kill the Egyptian? He was defending the Israelite. Why was he defending the Israelite? Okay, so we don't have the whole time to unbundle this. He was defending the Israelite. Trauma was speaking. Was part of what was speaking. Many other things, yeah. He felt responsible for them. It's a shade that he's coming with. Remember, he had heard all his life that he was a Jew. As a Hebrew boy, growing up in the palace, Egyptian palace. What confusion is that? So you were living with your abuser and you were not able to even escape. That was trauma. It was different if you chose it. I mean, we may have some responses of trauma that you embrace your abuser. Oh, he's caring, he's loving, I don't want to lose him. And yet he's abusing you. That's different. But this one, if from his patterns, if he had a choice, he would flee that environment. But he didn't have a choice as a child. He stayed put. Trauma. So when that had created some sort of shade in his head, I don't belong anywhere, perhaps. I must fix the problem myself. I have observed my tribe being abused, enslaved all my life. I want to fight, but he could not fight. He was helpless when he was a child. Now that he had one time chance, he didn't intend to, but it was impulsive. Trauma. So how do we identify limiting thoughts? So here we just run. Those are like frames that helps us to understand the rest of what we're talking about. So how do you identify limiting thoughts? Number one, identity crisis. Who am I? Now, are you in a state that you feel confused or uncertain about your life? Please don't answer to me. This meeting, the rest of the day, is you and you. Is you and God. Write it. Respond to you. It's not age. Leave age. It's not a respecter of age. Are you in a place where you're feeling, you're struggling to even understand? You're uncertain. You are confused about your life. Now, if yes is your answer, it is actually not your fault that you feel that way. You know what has caused you to feel that way? Is the exposure you have had from childhood. And until sometimes we heal from those exposures, it's not stopping maybe God calling you, doing what you're meant to do. You may even just be chugging along, but you just feel like something is missing. I am not sure. Something is missing. I can't put my hand on it, but it's missing. So are you in that state where you feel that way? It is not your fault. Your experiences brought you here. And part of what this is doing for you is awareness. And that's the first level of sustainable transformation. Be aware. Number 2, fear of rejection. And we see that happened for Moses. Exodus 3:11, we can just put that down. Fear of rejection is the next one. What if they don't believe me? What if nobody's bought from me? God had told you, create the course, do the program, do this. What if nobody buys from me? What if nobody responds? What if they don't believe in me? You're not alone. Moses felt the same way. But God had a response. God had a response. And God's response is, he asked Moses, demonstrate what you can do, your capacity, by using what is in your hand. That's God's response to him. And that you can see, please write it down, Exodus 4:11-2. That was God's response. God's response for identity crisis. Please, you can put in front of it Exodus 3:12. Just so that when I'm tying it up, I'll make reference to that. Then the third one is fear of talking to people. It's a legitimate fear. Fear of talking to people. We're using Moses as a model. The fears in his life. And put your life side by side it. We're talking about why you're not achieving your goal. Why you're not succeeding. And we have connected goal to kingdom agenda. That's why we came from all of those, analogy when we started. So, fear of talking to people. Moses felt, I can't talk. I don't know. I cannot say. How do you want me to go, God? And God told him, who gave you the mouth? Who gave the people? Who will give you the voice? Who will give you the words? Am I not the one? I will put the word, show up, and I'll put the words in your mouth. And that was God's response. Show up, and I, God, will do the talking. Where have you been hiding? Fear, the next one is fear of incompetence. This one is very big. Am I qualified? How many times have you asked yourself that? Am I qualified? How many times? Am I qualified? Do I have the qualification? Do I have the funding? Do I have the support? My family, nobody is supporting me. I'm all by myself. Do I have the market is saturated? God cannot fail. Don't joke with God. Especially many of us Christians, I feel burdened actually to have this conversation with us Christians. Because we have an advantage we don't use. I play in a space that is, of course, many therapists out there, many psychotherapists out there. I remember 10 years ago when God was telling me that the space is sending me into. I didn't even know what that meant, like that. It was that made me go to search it up. When he said it's blue ocean, and I'm like, okay. I saw blue, I saw red, and he said it's blue ocean. So later on is when I started to now understand, okay, this is what God, don't joke with God. Especially as Christians, it's the advantage we have in our space. We used to say, one person that can run us out of business is Jesus. Because if people can just align, kingdom agenda, download it. If you can download the align yourself, set goal around it, you will be able to just haze. You wouldn't have to copy, you wouldn't have to, do too much. Because God has provided, he has done, he has completed. If God gave you a promise, he has done it already. So he's saying that he has done it. I will put the words in your mouth. He has completed that work. He has prepared a heart that will hear you. He has blessed it. The word is blessed. It's not you. If you don't show up, somebody is truncated. A process is truncated for another person. So do you see? And the last one there is fear of incompetence. Oh, I just talked about that. Okay. Now, let's move quickly, which is the final part. I have a few minutes left. How to heal from limiting thoughts. Limiting thought patterns. Now that you've identified them, so just go to your life. Those things I mentioned, look at it. Where are you struggling? Can you see? It's not an exhaustive list, by the way, but can you see up to 3 in your life showing up? If it's up to 3, then intervention might be necessary. It's necessary, not might. So don't waste time. Don't waste time. Do what you need to do. Now that you know. We do the best with what we know. If you didn't know, it's different. But now that you know. Now, how do we heal from limiting thoughts? Let me mention them. And then maybe I'll talk through one. Number 1, redefining meaning. Please write it down. Number 2, forgiveness. Number 3, meditation and breath control. They are like things you can start to do now that can help you. Positive self-talk, building resilience. I want to emphasize 1 or 2. How many more minutes? So I've by listing, I've quickly done the listing. All right. Okay. Beautiful. So let me talk about redefining meaning. See, it is mouthful. As mouthful as it is, that's the reality of that redefining meaning. That's the entire what we do in therapy. Redefining meaning, it can take 8 sessions to work with the client. All right? But this is the crux of it. The crux of it is that what you believed, for example, failure is final. That's a limiting belief. Why? Because you had an exposure. You prepared for an exam, you went for it, and you failed that exam. Limiting belief shows up. I feel so sad about it. How can I prepared so well? And this is the 3rd time. I guess maybe it's not for me. Maybe failure is final. We come up with these things because of our exposure to life experiences. Now, reframing that will now be example of a reframe will be that failure is feedback. I remember when I was trying to I did diploma before I did direct entry. And I remember I had failed one course. And I didn't have the confidence to tell my parent about it. I entered quite young. In fact, it was the first set of the diploma in my school then. So I couldn't tell my dad, but eventually I told him. And he didn't, I was expecting him to really just take it really personal. But he did not. At the end of the day, he told me that this time around, you will do that exam and you will pass it. It's one of the last words, I can remember my dad saying to me, this time around you will pass it. It was as if I had a release and it was an anchor. And guess what? I did that exam as if my life depended on it. It was my best result. I passed it. My environment embraced me. I felt embraced, even in the midst of chaos. So, we can say that experience redefined the meaning of failure. Perhaps it would have been final if it was, aggressive daddy. Hey, you failed. How can you fail? Again. He embraced me. So it transformed it in my mind. I didn't have to go to therapy. You see how interventions happen in the life of people? Which is why it will happen differently for each person. For those who have children in the house, please begin to put it side by side. Parallel things as well. But this, importantly for you. So, failure now became a feedback. I'll do better. He said this time around I'll do well. And I did well. Forgiveness. Now, that's one. I think that's the only last one and meditation, because I would want us to do a little practice, and that'll be it. Let me speak about forgiveness. I wrote a definition I want to read out. Forgiveness is freeing your heart and mind from burden of negativity that can fuel limiting thought patterns. There are many definitions out there, but this one, is what I would like us to relate to in this class. Freeing your heart and mind from negativity, burden of negativity that can fuel limiting patterns. See how powerful forgiveness is. Forgiveness is a tool. Forgiveness is a deliverer. So meaning that we can have limiting beliefs installed if we don't forgive. But if we forgive, it helps us to unburden that burden. So how do you forgive? I know that's a common question. How do you work it? How do you do forgiveness? First of all, I want us to know that the forgiveness is not for that person. It's very difficult, but it's not difficult. There are steps to it, but key things you need to know about forgiveness. Forgiveness is not for that person, it's for you. Remember what is connected to forgiveness if you don't forgive. Limiting belief is installed. And you will be operating from that. It will limit your action. You can't achieve your goals. You can't achieve kingdom purpose. So, that's one of the reasons you need to deal with limiting belief using forgiveness. So, one key thing you need to do when you're forgiving, identify the source of your pain. And okay, maybe during question and answer, I don't want to take outside of this time. So, feeling, identify the feeling. To identify the pain, just put feeling, arrow, forward arrow, event, forward arrow, limiting belief. That's a quick way to help you identify the source of your pain. So just identify what is the feeling, or what was the feeling you felt. What are you feeling? I feel so disgusted. Oh, I feel so hotful. I feel resentment. Event, why? What happened? A close friend, she traveled without informing me. Or, in the case of Moses, he must have been feeling resentment. He felt confusion. All right? And then the event that happened is he now saw a Hebrew boy, an Egyptian chancing a Hebrew boy like him. And he can't stand it. That's his past. He's looking like his past. And he's not going to take it. That's the event. Then, connect it to what's the third thing? Limiting belief. So, what belief has now come as a result of this event? What limiting belief has come to you as a result of this belief? You feel very resentful. Then, the event of observing this. So, then maybe, because of where he's coming from, part of his own limiting belief, like I identified earlier on, is, I'm not able to, I don't belong here. I need to fight for my people. It's coming with, I need to fight for my people. I am the one to fight it. And I will do this. Now, the one that is happening again, if you don't learn to deal with a limiting belief, it will brew itself. One will be loathing in negativity. But the moment you're learning to break one, it will be a cycle of, freedom that you're brewing for yourself. And then the second part is separate the action from the person. We are doing forgiveness. Just separate the action from the person. So the person that offended you, he is not what he did. They enslaved his tribe. They are not what they did. The person that did it is one person. What they did is another thing. They are also coming from their own limiting belief. He that went to kill now, he has used this limiting belief to do something. Because your behavior has a structure. It's how he was feeling that made him behave that way. And it was how he was thinking that made him feel that way, that made him behave that way. If we don't stop the cycle, it will keep continuing. Trauma cycle. You will keep repeating it. So if he had caught himself, maybe he went into therapy, got an exposure like this that brought awareness to him, maybe forgiveness would have helped him. You have a goal to achieve. There's a future to get into. There's a land to take. There's a deliverance that needs to come for a nation. And you are assigned to do that role by your Father Pay attention to where you're coming from so you can heal. So you don't keep killing people, killing destinies, killing human beings. How many people have we killed on our path to accomplishing our goals? We are also killing people. We are killing dreams. And it's not our fault. It wasn't Moses' fault. He didn't know. He was struggling from his past. And the final part is you now choose to forgive. Choose to forgive. Forgiveness is not, I'm feeling forgiven, or I'm feeling like I want to forgive. You choose. It's a choice. So to choose to forgive, which is what I'm going to ask all of us now. Pen down the name of people you need to forgive. If there's one person, two people, you may have no one, it's fine. But for some that may have people that they need to forgive, put down their name. And then you frame it in the format of, I forgive, put the name. Again, the name. For what, how did the person make you feel? What happened? What was the event? What was the limiting belief that came at it? So, I forgive my friend for making me feel abandoned when she traveled without informing me. And I started to feel like maybe I am not good enough in doing friendship. Do you see? When you are forgiving, don't just say, I forgive for a sin. No, I forgive him. Don't. That's why it's difficult. Do you see? We forgive is a choice. You choose to forgive. So you can just put that down so that you can do that for you. Forgive. These are all things that are stopping us. Remember where we're coming from. They are the things stopping us from achieving our goals. And in conclusion, the forgiveness part. Once you are forgiving the person, for you to reinforce that for your mind, pray for the person. Pray for the person. So once you have done, I forgive my friend, now I pray for Tola, that whatever now comes to my mind, pray for him. Pray for her. It's difficult, but it's part of the process. And the last part of that is now forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. Many of us, we will not have one person that we want to offend, or that has offended us and we need to release. It's us that we need to release ourselves. So I crave the indulgence of the room today. Online in the room. Who do you need to forgive? You now. What do you need to forgive you for? You are holding you back. You're holding you down. You've set goals and you're struggling. That was gracious. So, I actually felt so. Let's walk through forgiveness. If you have done what I said earlier on, you've written it down, you have your names written down. Let me see your hand. Okay, don't worry. Now, you remember, it's you and God. Let's do this. In a few minutes, we can get this done with. Because I want it to mean something for us. I want it to mean something for us. At the end of the day, this is the beginning of the day. We're going day long. We're going the rest of the year. We're trying to set goals. We're trying to re-strategize. There's no point hurrying nowhere. These are groundworks. These are foundational conversations that should happen. So, please, if you have not put down the names of people, it's now time to put down the names of who you need to forgive. Please do that. And then the framework I gave, I think the more burden I have is the one that forgiving ourselves. And you know what you need to forgive yourself for? Is anyone still on the forgiving others? Just quickly write one person. You will do it after now. You do the remaining after now. Write the one person, forgive the person, then pray for the person. But make sure you detail what you're forgiving for. That's how to get release. Okay? Now, for the forgiving you part that helps us to solidify forgiveness. We know how to do well with people. We know how to spot people. We know how to be there for people. We know how to forgive people. We know how to be angels to people and saints. You're taking care of everyone. Who is taking care of you? Sometimes we are our own arch enemy. What are you holding on to? You failed the exam. You bungled the relationship. The contract did not work out and you're blaming yourself. You missed the promotion. You lost money. You never got the opportunity again after you lost it. Maybe no second chance. What are you struggling with right now? I believe we also have leaders in the house. This is one major thing that we will now work in cocoon, working with people. Is to the extent to which you are healed and you are released, that you can flow into other people, that people can pass through you. And by passing through you, I don't mean get promoted, they work with your energy. You can be with people, do relationships well, sit with people and host people. But if we are not able to host ourselves, which is not our fault, remember, it's where we are coming from. Experience. What experience has shaded you? That has made you hold on to yourself, that you're not going to go. You have stayed too long on this mountain. And what is holding you back is you. Yeah. So, I forgive me. You're framing it now. Many of us may be quick to write for other people. Write for you. Write one. Forgive you. You made a mistake. You lost the opportunity. I forgive me for allowing me to experience abuse in that relationship because I saw the signs. I forgive me. It will be you will still go out, and do it, but I want you to take advantage of this moment. Please take advantage of this moment. What are you holding on to that is stopping you? I forgive me. This is you and God. I forgive me. Forgive yourself for that relationship. And when I say relationship, it's not only romantic relationship with parents. Many of us, we are resenting our parents. And because of that, our relationships are not working. Relationships with colleagues, co-workers, friends, we are not able to do relationships well. Forgive you. It's time to forgive you. Just see this as a moment to gift yourself and forgive yourself. I forgive me and detail it. And then, have you done that? Have you done that? Okay. Don't worry, even after now, and you find yourself still finding more. There are more. Okay? We have more. But just get I want this to mean, something for you. Then, now pray for you. The next line. I pray for myself. That area you're forgiving yourself for, pray for yourself. If we had all the time here, we would deal with that forgiveness. Everyone, you will list the names. Because those names, you will supply them. Once you have all the names, so that when you want to do the remaining, because each one matters. So you write all the names and you do the same thing for each person. Then, as you have done that, then for yourself, what are you forgiving yourself for? The event in your life that has put you in pain. Primary pain, secondary pain, tertiary pain. Forgive yourself. Release yourself. Forgive you. Amen. Please let me add one. I put build resilience as number 5 earlier on. Let me speak a little bit about that resilience as we wrap this up. The goal is not building resilience. I'll just talk about it. All of these things will help us to build resilience. That means we can heal and then be able to get back to life. Now set goals and set, our dreams and all of that. We can set goals from our dreams. The goal is not a life without pain. It's important I say that. That you are forgiven, the areas you have mentioned now, does not mean that, the person now that you have forgiven, now you can allow the person to misbehave towards you again. No. It doesn't mean that. It just means that now you are in awareness and your posture is different. You have released the negativity that is coming from you and you are not ready to receive from that person. So you are freer, you are lighter to go. Remember I said it's not for the person, it's for you. So, it is not that you will have no pain in your life. It is not a life without pain that you are looking for. Don't look for it. Don't look for a life without pain. Moses, despite the trauma of childhood, he killed somebody. He fled. Midian. He got to Midian. God started to restore him. And God called him. He had pain. He had call. Do you understand? So, all of this pain that are in your life, build resilience by learning to, which is my last thought. He says, this one came from, I used to teach a course we call mindfulness for practitioners. And you cannot stop the wind, but you can learn to surf. So you are not trying to say, I don't want to have pain again. I don't want to have exposure again. You can limit things. You can manage your life, to limit what comes, or build, right perception, emotional regulation, self-efficacy, self-concept. You build all of these things that help you to be in a better place to handle things, yeah? But the goal is not that you will now be in paradise. You can live in paradise on earth. Yes. But I mean that you will now be in a life without pain. You can't control people. It's only you can control. So, the pain may be there, but in all, your business is not to stop the wind. He says you can't stop the wind. Yes, we are Christian. We know our attitude to the wind. And even in scripture, your goal is not to stop the wind. It's God's business. If God chooses to stop the wind to intervene, it's his business. It doesn't have to stop the wind to intervene on your behalf. God does not have to stop the wind to intervene and have you be still. And that's why Psalm. Be still and know that I am God. That's my last statement I leave you with. Because in the midst of chaos, God is still God. And it is his business to help us navigate this chaos that is in our world. It's my belief, I know these are in segments, that God will lace our heart and help our heart quickened to our healing for this time. Thank you very much. I put see a therapist. Many of these things, many of us might live here and now know that you need to see a therapist. So you see that therapists do like a lot of work. Please make them your friends. They are your friends. Thank you very much.
Can we celebrate Councillor Tayo? Can we celebrate her? And so, I just want to reiterate a statement she made in the course of our discussion this morning. She said to break free from the past, you need to create a compelling future. You need to create a compelling picture of the future. And to see the future, you need to heal. And that was what the journey she just took us through. And you may say, okay, you can get therapy FOC, courtesy of Daystar Counseling Units. Therapy is expensive, but we have it at our beck and call in church. And they have it for all ages. So I would want to join us and encourage us. Take advantage of the resources. You see, We have resources in Daystar that if you go out there, you know what you'll be paying for. I have a senior friend, she worked with the Lagos State government, and she was telling me she had to go in for therapy, and she's paying, the Lagos State government has a clinic in Alausa, and she's paying 100,000 per hour. That's what the government is paying for that therapy. And she did 8 sessions. So you can imagine, and that is, some are that cheap, some are more than that, if you want to see the Larry Olushola or the Praise for OS. So please take advantage of the church counseling units and see them. And you know, on this our healing journey. We have only 5 minutes we want to take. Does anybody have any question to ask her before she leaves? Please indicate now. It's not when somebody is asking, somebody else is now remembering. We just want to take number. If you have a question for her, please indicate now. Bro Sam, please help us check on the platform if we have anybody that has a question. So we have only 1 person. Please, sir, come forward and come. 2? Okay, please come forward. We have only 2 people who want to ask. Please, let's go straight to the point of what the question is, and then she will answer them together. That's one. Secondly, we are passing a register around for those who, if you are interested in lunch, we have a caterer that has been made available so that we can let the person know the number of people she's preparing for. Thank you very much. Please come forward, sir. Okay, we will take the questions after the physical ones.
Wow, thank you. Thank you very much, facilitator. God bless you. My name is Jesulano Festus. I enjoyed the session. So this last part that you mentioned, we should write the names of people that have offended us. So I found it difficult. I, as a person, I'm trying to remember the people that have offended me. I couldn't remember. So I want to understand, is it possible to have some kind of people that you, like the one I explained now, that you are thinking hard, you can't remember if somebody offended you? Maybe because of what we have been enjoying this time, that we practice advanced forgiveness. You understand? So I just want to know, or I should still think further. Maybe I can still remember. Thank you. Okay, question 2. Please, okay.
Praise the Lord. Thank you, our facilitator. You know, the teaching was very powerful. For us to get my question right, I'm going to define hurt in 3 levels. The first hurt is not too painful. The second one, maybe just average. Then the third one, the very, very hot. You know, as you were teaching, it looks so easy. People that have hurt us in the 3rd level, the very, very hot, that you cannot even explain. Whether parents, whether friends or family, you did something to them, instead of them to do good, they pay you back with evil. As a human being with a human nature, how do you forgive those kind of people if you are hurt in 3rd level? You know, there are some hurt, it's easier to forgive them. But there are some as a human being. I don't know where I get my question, man. Thank you, man.
Okay, thank you. The first question says, how do you deal with, okay, I should mention the name, right? It's not necessary, okay. How do you deal with someone you know didn't offend, but that you didn't offend, someone you know you didn't offend, but pick offense from all you do and tell others, I don't just like him, gets the person's audience, but still can say precisely your offense. Can't say, I think that's what you want to say, but still cannot say precisely your offense. Okay, so the second one says, how can you get over from feeling funny when someone who hurts you significantly is mentioned, or you see the person, you are forgiven and even prayed for the person, but when you see the person or hear the name, it brings back the pain again. How can you move on from this so it doesn't happen again? Thank you. So,
All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for asking those questions. And I feel like this is very meaningful for me and for us. So the first question says, when you can't remember who has offended you. There are many people, but they've done things in the past, but now you can't remember. I like to always say one thing. If you have to think about it too much, we probably don't need it. You probably don't need to stress over it. Okay? It's not only in forgiveness, in many things. When I'm working with clients, I'll tell them, if we have to think about it too much, if you have to think about it too far, you probably don't need it now. It's not standing in your way now. So let it be. Don't catastrophize. Don't make it bigger than it is. So don't dig what is lying fallow. Yeah. So does that answer your question? Yes. Beautiful. Now the second one says, yes, and this really, honestly, I felt the question as he was asking it. Really, we have 3 levels of pain. We have primary pain, secondary pain, and tertiary pain. I think it's also like that for physical. And even postgraduate pain, right? And the primary pain is what caused the pain. The first person that really hurt us, maybe like our parents, those pain that we couldn't help it. We were helpless. We were hopeless in that situation, and we couldn't fly from them because we were dependent on them. Not only our parent, but is our status at that time. We were a child on all fronts. So friends, family of the family were hurting us, and we couldn't run away. Just like the baby Moses. So that's the primary one. So it hurts deeply and it affects us across our lives. So the hurt. Please come in for therapy. I will say that. To deal with hurt at some levels, you might need to come in for therapy. All right? Because even with therapy, it takes journey. And don't feel guilty that you have to, be on that process. Because when people hurt us, other people may not understand how it feels. It is you that is wearing those shoes that knows how it feels, how it hurts. So it's real, it's deep. The first level is you not, being in awareness, which is what you've done. You know that you're struggling. You don't want to think about it. And for too long, you have numbed it away, or you've moved away from it. Not that you've healed. So, please seek help to get help that is sustainable for you. Please. You might need to have someone work with you. But to manage things for yourself now, that awareness is good, so that the pain is there, but you can still do your life. That's what the awareness will help you do. You have the pain, it's hurting. You're not trying to let go. The pain is there, all right? And you're living life one step at a time, and you're still able to live your life functionally. And that is connected to the last one. I think I didn't get the third one very well. The last question that says, hearing about the person after you have forgiven. Like I explained, forgiveness does not rule away the behavior of the person or what they did and all of that. It doesn't. It only just helps your own posture. So don't worry, the journey has begun. Most times it happens like that for us because we have not actively forgiven. Yes. One of the things forgiveness does is that it helps our posture. And why it helps our posture is our mindset you will still feel that thing. It will bring it up. It starts up in your body. It will bring it up. So that you are forgiven does not take away all that they have done. But it helps you now to posture right because your thinking is different. So you're beginning to feel different. And with time, you will literally be able to let go. Some people, because of the resilience in their life, the moment they do that forgiveness thing, they have a release. And they are fine. But for some people, it may take a journey. Overall, please, if you need to get support to be able to walk with or walk through a hurt, a pain, is big enough. Seek help. Thank God for DSTA and counseling. Seek therapy, just like we do doctor, we have personal doctors. Let's have personal therapies as well. The last question, I didn't quite get that. The third question. I answered that.
How do you forgive someone who turned against you for saying truth of what he did?
No, that's another question that just came up. That one just came up again. So this, I think, how do you deal with someone you know you didn't offend, but pick offense from all you do and tell others, I don't just like him, guess the person's audience, but still cannot say precisely what the person's offense is?
And so what I will ask is, so what is the issue? What issue do you have with it? That's the one we'll deal with.
Maybe you should now join that with this other question.
Okay.
These are like, that one just dropped now.
Okay.
How do you forgive someone who turns against you for saying the truth for what he did and tag you Mrs. Right every time he sees you?
Rule of thumb, you can't control people. What people think, what they feel, what they do, what they don't do, what they did towards you, you can't control people. If you focus on that, your energy is gone. And you lose the power. You give them power to continue. That's part of those things that brew bullying and all of that. So the flip side of that is what you can control, how you feel towards it. So the question I will ask, maybe they want to ask, how are they feeling about it? What is the issue they have with it? Because it's not a problem. Let him continue to talk now. But if it's affecting me, then I need to deal with that. So how is he affecting me? Thank you very much.